Hey, it's Chris, and today I've got an unboxing for you of the red 256 gig version of the iPhone 12, the regular iPhone. So of course, I'm gonna actually unbox it, but along the way, we're gonna talk about all kinds of things that are relevant to whether or not this is the iPhone that you actually want to purchase. So I'm actually gonna get it set up, and then I'm also gonna unbox the MagSafe charger, see how it works, then also demo this case, see how that works as well. And while we're at it, I'll probably mention here and there the 12 Pro, although we're not gonna get deep into that in this particular video. Now, before I actually tear into this box, I do wanna point out that yes, there are the things that we've all come to expect this year, you know, like a better camera or a spec bump, but there's actually a fair amount of new things, brand new things to be excited about, maybe even more so than on a typical year. So yeah, this is actually gonna be really fun. You know, I think it's probably safe to assume that this is gonna be the iPhone that people buy the most this year. And wow, look at that color. That blows me away. That is different than I expected. Wow, my first impression is this is almost like a hot red color. I didn't even know that that was a thing, like hot pink. But this is like on the verge of having a little bit of pink in there, but it retains its redness. I'm really surprised by this color, and I really like it. To be very honest, not something I would have considered buying before actually going hands-on with it, but now I'm kind of wanting it. And of course, like you guys probably guessed, this is a review unit. Now I can't wait to start talking about the design, but I just have to say, even though there are some compelling new features this year, I'm not sure that this is a must upgrade to phone. In terms of, is it something that would actually make you upgrade ahead of when you had planned to? If anything, I think the two models that would compel people to upgrade before they had planned might be the iPhone mini, which is new this year, or maybe the Pro Max, which actually has a very upgraded camera. Now in the box, you'll notice that something's gone missing. There isn't a power adapter anymore like there used to be. Instead, you've got a USB-C to Lightning cable. Now some people are gonna have a huge fit about this. Personally, that's not me. I've been an iPhone user for a long time, and I've got a ton of power bricks laying around. And not to mention, I would rather use the MagSafe wireless charging anyways. And really, the only other thing in the box is just this little pack. Something about product red. We have a little SIM ejector. And of course, what iPhone box would be complete without an Apple sticker? So the iPhone 12 definitely looks familiar, but it actually does have a pretty new design this year. I can really tell, holding it in my hand, that I'm absolutely going to like these flat edges. Flat versus curved, that's what the difference looks like. And actually, it feels so much better to hold. It's a lot more natural. The white phone here is, of course, my old 11 Pro, so that's why it's got 3 cameras on the back instead of the 2, but even the buttons have been redesigned and feel a little bit different. I know something everybody's wondering is whether or not it can stand up straight, and the answer is yes, it can. Should you, though, let it stand on its own, like as a tripod or something? Not recommended. Although this new screen does have a ceramic coating on it that supposedly makes it 4 times less likely to crack if you drop it. Now, is that something I'm about to test for you guys right now? Not a chance, not with this review unit. And just before I forget, see this little thing right here? A lot of people saw pictures of this and speculated that maybe Touch ID had returned in the form of this sensor on the side or something. And I just have to break the news to you. This is not a Touch ID enabled phone, which actually is fine with me. The only thing is, now that we're in this pandemic, it would be nice to be able to just scan my fingerprint and get into the phone while I'm wearing a mask. But I'm very sure that Apple was designing this long before this pandemic ever started. And so it's just one of those things that's too bad. I really have to tell you, compared to the old phone, this new one, it really feels new. Which is funny because it also harkens back to the older iPhone 4 and 5 with these nice flat edges. It's probably hard to see here too, but the screen is actually flat as well. Whereas on the old iPhones from last year, the screen, that bevel, it was curved just a little bit. But let's be real, I mean, most people are gonna slap a case on this anyways. I'm going to. Because if you don't, the rear glass here is actually super glossy, and it will show a lot of fingerprints. Look at that camera bump though. That is so much cooler than last year. It's almost like a little translucent there. It seems to blend in a lot better. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get this set up. And by the time you guys come back, it's gonna be several minutes later. All right, so now that it's all set up, you guys can notice the notch is still here. You probably already knew that by looking at the pictures. At this point though, I just kind of ignore it. It doesn't even register. I like having Face ID, so it doesn't really bother me. One thing that's great here is that we have a new OLED screen, which actually lets Apple keep this the same size as the iPhone 11, and yet still helps to shrink these bezels. This is a really nice OLED screen. It's so nice that it faked me out. I almost thought that it was fake. The icons on here look so good that it almost looks like a fake cardboard cutout or something. That's insane. That's ridiculous. I love how gorgeous this is. And of course, an OLED screen is just amazing anyways, for the same reason that it's amazing when your TV has OLED. You get perfect blacks, which means individual pixels get turned off. It's not just dimmed, they're turned off, which aside from perfect blacks, also makes the colors around those black pixels pop a lot more too. Is it better than an LCD screen? Absolutely, unquestionably. One thing the iPhone 12 doesn't have is a super high refresh rate when it comes to the screen. It's not 120 Hertz, it's not 90 Hertz, it's 60 Hertz. But you know what? Nobody cares right now. Just a tiny fraction of people would actually care whether this is 120 or 90 instead of just 60. iOS feels really, really fluid anyways. And before people start whining and complaining, you have to take everything into account. Battery life is affected by refresh rates. You know, like things like battery life, because I mean, there are plenty of manufacturers out there who will throw a feature in just to say that they threw it in, but it doesn't have anything to do with the actual overall experience. I guarantee that the average person isn't gonna sit there and say, man, I really made a mistake. This doesn't have 120. The only thing that's a little weird about it is that Apple does put a 120 Hertz display on the iPad Pro. And what's even weirder than that is that they didn't even stick it in the Pro iPhone. But whatever, we'll dive more into this one in an upcoming video. Now here's what I'm really excited about with this particular screen. I can come into YouTube, watch in 4K HDR. And that, as I'm looking at it, is surreal, honestly. It's so good. This is gonna be an absolutely amazing device to watch high quality content on. Seriously, it's hard to convey just how nice this looks. How long have people been waiting for 4K YouTube on an iPhone? And it is not disappointing, not in the slightest. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about MagSafe. Let's try out the actual MagSafe puck here. Is that what you call it? It's not hockey, but that's what I'm going with, which comes impressively coiled like the snake I was just watching in HDR. And just if you're wondering, this is how long of a cord you get. That's a decent amount of travel. So USB-C on one side and then the wireless puck on the other. I got a MacBook sitting right over here. I'm gonna get that plugged in and here we go. Wow, that snapped right on there. All right, let's look at that animation one more time. So it snaps right on, boom, charging. Now, I'm excited about this. I mean, I'm really excited about this because I have a wireless charger right by my bed. It charges my Apple Watch, charges my AirPods, and wirelessly charges my iPhone. But it's always a pain to position my phone exactly in the right spot on that charger. So to be able to have a charging system, whether it's Apple's or third parties, that can just charge and snap into place, and actually we didn't get the animation there for some reason, but it is charging. That's just awesome. It's one of those little conveniences that's really gonna be meaningful in people's everyday life. And it's strong too. That's not going anywhere. And you know what? The strength of the magnets and the accessories will change depending on the application. So if you're in the car and you have some kind of a charger or a mount that uses this MagSafe technology, that could be a much stronger magnet in terms of the power than maybe what a different accessory is gonna be. By the way, this thing's 40 bucks. But you know what this allows you to do? It allows you to charge at 15 watts. And that makes a difference. Wireless charging on iPhones has been rather slow before, but with this, it makes the speed of charging your iPhone wirelessly actually pretty tolerable, to the point where you could probably charge like 40% in an hour or so, is what I've been hearing. Haven't tried it yet. All right, now this is the product red MagSafe silicone case. So it's pretty much perfect for this particular phone. And yep, those go together pretty nicely, I would say. They're slightly different, but that's close enough. And actually you can see on the inside, it has a little ring there where that MagSafe technology goes, where it lives. And it's also nice and soft, so it's not gonna scratch things up, just like you've come to expect. Now, I haven't tried this before, but this should be pretty magical, right? When I plug this in, it should automatically know which case, even down to the color, I've just put on because of the MagSafe. Now, how's it able to do that? Well, they've got some NFC built in so that the accessories can talk to the phone so it knows the exact thing that you've just paired it with. And then of course, I don't have it with me here, but there are MagSafe accessories like a little wallet accessory that you can snap on here magnetically. And I think that's gonna be really great if you wanna get out and not have to take a separate wallet anymore. Basically, you can pay with Apple Pay and then just keep your ID or things like that in your wallet. But then of course, if you lose your wallet or your phone, you've lost them both. The case feels nice, definitely not too slippery. Because the clear Apple case, that thing gets slippery over time. And I've actually ended up not really liking that. There's just a little bit of a lip there, you know? So if you set this down, it's not gonna hurt the screen. Although, since this isn't technically glass and it's like part glass and part ceramic, you technically don't have to worry about the screen quite as much. And I'll tell you this, I never put a screen protector on, but there's no way I'm putting one on this year for sure. It's true, in the past I've ended up with a few micro scratches here and there, but I really don't like screen protectors, and I'm waiting for the day when phones are basically indestructible. And we're a little bit closer now. Of course, the Apple-made MagSafe accessories are cool, but what's really exciting to me is to think about what kind of things third parties are gonna dream up for this. This is gonna be a whole new ecosystem of stuff. The iPhone has always had the best accessories, the most and the best, and that is only gonna be more so the case in the future now. You know, Belkin's already made this really interesting triple charger that lets you charge your phone, your AirPods, and your Apple Watch all at the same time, but because of the MagSafe, you can actually rotate the phone so it can be landscape or horizontal. I mean, that's really cool. That's different, noticeably, than what you could do with an iPhone 11. Now, what's this I spy on the bottom here? Is that a USB-C port? No, actually, it's our old friend, the Lightning port. Now, what's Apple doing? Coming out with MagSafe, which is really cool, but keeping around this legacy port, the Lightning port. Well, I guess on the one hand, they're cutting down on waste, right? As soon as you stick a different port in here, all kinds of accessories that you probably already own quit working with your iPhone, which as convenient as USB-C would seem to be for me. You know, I've got USB-C on my Mac. It'd be nice to just use the same thing to charge my phone and my Mac. Well, a lot of people would actually end up missing this port here. And here's the thing, with MagSafe, I think it's safe to say that Apple is probably moving towards a portless future with this. In a year or 2 or 3, they can get rid of a port altogether, while at the same time making the iPhone actually waterproof, potentially. Not just resistant, but proof, maybe. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, who is it? It's the future? Oh, hey, your name is 5G. Ah, this is a 5G phone. Apple's really pushing 5G. Here's the thing, 5G isn't widely rolled out yet on basically any network. There's just little pockets in some big cities where you can mostly use it. And even then, you're not gonna be using it all the time. Apple's built in some technology here that's going to use 5G when necessary, but then jump off of using 5G when it's not totally necessary. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time talking about 5G in this video. What I'm just gonna say is 5G is not the reason why I would actually upgrade to a new iPhone. It's nice, it's great when it's actually usable in my area. I'm sure I'm gonna love it in the way that I loved getting gig internet recently and would not wanna be without it. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be all right. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. Stay tuned for lots of iPad Air content. That's on the way. For iPhone Pro content, I'll be unboxing this real soon and starting my review. I got a closet over here full of iPhone 12 accessories. So I've got an accessories video coming. You have to hit subscribe if you're new around here. Don't forget, you can connect with me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Daily Tech, spelled Daily T-E-K-K in both of those places. And I would love to hang out with you on our podcast, The Daily Tech After Party, where we talk about all kinds of things. Daily Tech, Chris, me behind the scenes, but lots of Apple news. All right, catch you guys in the next video. Later.